Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. I know this video has been waiting quite a while. If you were here, you may remember we put this sickle bar on this 1973 140 over the winter. I have since done some modifications to it since you guys last saw it. I put this on the other day to keep any grass and stuff from getting into the drive pulley. I put a smaller belt on it because it kept wanting to pop off. I deleted the piece that they had to lift this piece up and down. It sat in there, it just had a chain. And I put it on the mower deck lift. But that caused this to want to tip out and come off, which it was doing anyway. So I just ratchet strapped it tight. That was a bad design on Haban and John Deere's part anyway. So, we finally got some grass high enough that we are going to take this mower out and use it. I've used it a few times, just testing it on some little stuff here and there. Tried to mow a couple of berms and edges with it and whatnot. I also put a spring on this, so it's now spring loaded, because it was wanting to dig into the ground. I'm going to have to redo this piece of rubber, not holding up. But let's get this thing fired up, get it out here, and we're going to cut all of this right here. It goes all the way over to there, and from here clear over to the other side of this line of equipment. We mowed this 2 years ago, I believe it was, with the sickle bar on the front of the Gravely. It was taller then. This got mowed once already this year in April, I believe. But we're going to take out and mow it with this right now. All right. As you see, didn't do too bad. I guess I would hope so, as much money as we put into it over the winter here. You can kind of see where the windrows are, where the mess ups. I think most of it got cut off, maybe that didn't. This all did, it just got scooted around. This definitely didn't. And there's a few spots up through there that didn't, just little spots from turning around or from turning the corner. Bit sharp. And then a spot here, I'm still figuring out where I need to be. But all in all, I'd call that a success. That's going to conclude this video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't already. If you want to see more on this tractor and you are new, there is one other video on this tractor when we put the sickle bar on it probably 4 months ago-ish. And there is a few shorts up of it recently. For those of you who are a stickler for original, I also am, but I am also big on functional. I do have the original lifting stuff. I just took it all off. It's not as functional as the way I have it set up. Now, instead of having to have this suspended in the air or screw around, taking it down and taking the chain off, putting it back up, because you want the bar up, obviously for storage purposes, and to have that spring not collapsed. But I don't like having all the weight suspended on the tractor, so now I can just lift that up completely separately. Now I've got it sitting on a block. There's no weight on the tractor anymore, and the bar is still in the air. If you heard any clanking and crunching sounds as we were going along, it is this. This was very temporary. I need to come up with something better. I have it so it just slides over these bolts here, which is all well and good. There's one on each side. But that pivots with the front axle, not the rest of the tractor, unfortunately. So it's bolted to the front of the tractor also, so it bends and flops that piece around, which doesn't matter, but I don't like it. So it'll eventually get something different done with it. Let me know in the comments if you have any ideas. There is always a link to my Instagram, my email, and I have a TikTok now. It's also there in the comments. If you have any pictures of something you've done for yourself, let me know. I do want to get something situated because I really don't want to be clogging that front pulley up. This worked pretty good other than the flex thing. And you see here and there, it looks like the pulley rubbed on it. But it does have clearance when it's, you know, sitting level. But, you know, that's what happens when you start building things and customizing them. But again, if you enjoyed the video, please don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe if you have not already. And I'll catch you on the next one.